Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We've got a lot to cover. President Trump has said and done a lot since we last spoke, and we're going to jump right into it. Now, today is Friday already. Isn't that something? It's Friday. Very excited. And on Fridays on the program, it is Open Phones. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Monday through Thursday, we ask you to call in and discuss the things that we're bringing up. But on Friday, the show prep is up to you guys. On Open MAGA Mike Friday, you're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't even have to reference anything that I bring up or Steve when he joins us. And that number, of course, is toll-free no matter where you're tuned in to us at. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Okay, so President Trump made a statement about Juneteenth yesterday. And for those that don't know, Juneteenth, which is a holiday that is not properly taught at all in America, Juneteenth is a day where it's a day that remembers when the last slaves were freed, which is not really the truth. When the Republicans, I'll just tell you this. The Civil War, I call the Civil War the Democrat insurrection against the federal government because that's what it was. The Abolitionist Party, the Republicans, elected Abraham Lincoln, and the Democrats immediately launched an insurrection against the United States government and fired on Fort Sumter. And nearly 1 million Americans died in that war. And President Lincoln, they ratified the Constitution and freed the slaves. And Juneteenth, after the surrender of the Democrats, that's right, General Lee was a Democrat. The whole Confederacy was a Democrat government. They still kept slaves. They still kept their slaves in some places. And Juneteenth is the day that is remembered as the last slaves being held by the Democrats in Texas were told by the Republican Union soldiers that they were free. And Biden made it a national holiday. So yesterday, President Trump posted on Truth Social this: too many non-working holidays in America. It is costing our country billions of dollars to keep all of these businesses closed. The workers don't want it either. Soon we'll end up having a holiday for every one working day of the year. Every once working day of the year. It must change if we are going to make America great again. Now, I knew yesterday was Juneteenth, and Biden made it a federal holiday. He made it a federal holiday because Black Lives Matter had not been exposed as a real estate scam yet, and they were causing a lot of problems. And Biden made Juneteenth a federal holiday to satisfy Black Lives Matter and a huge part of the federal workforce are African American, and he thought he could firm them up by giving them a day off to support the Democrats. And President Trump is absolutely correct. Why is Juneteenth a federal holiday? I knew it was a federal holiday, but I didn't realize the banks were closed. And yesterday, I had to make a bank transaction online, and it didn't process because it's a bank holiday. Now, for the life of me, I don't understand why the banks have their electronic systems down on holidays when it's computers and no humans involved. Did the computers recognize federal holidays too? And the transaction will go through today, but I needed the transaction to go through yesterday. But because Juneteenth is a federal holiday and the banks are closed, it didn't go through. Why was Juneteenth a day where everything shut down? Should it be? How many of you celebrated Juneteenth? You know, when people have off on Juneteenth, they loaf. I mean, it's not a real holiday. There are certain holidays that we have on the federal calendar for a whole bunch of different reasons. But most of the holidays that we have, not all of them, but most of the holidays we have on the calendar They're federal holidays because everybody recognizes and participates in them. There are some exceptions, but that's the most, for the most part. And there has been efficiency with national holidays in the past. As an example, when I was growing up, we did not have President's Day. We didn't have President's Day. We had Washington's birthday and Lincoln's birthday, and they were both federal holidays. But they were, are those birthdays 1 or 2 weeks apart? I can't remember. They're in the same month. I can't remember if they're 1 or 2 weeks apart. And this was in the 80s when this happened. Because I remember it. They combined Washington and Lincoln's birthdays, which were federal holidays, two of our greatest presidents, into one day. And they took their names off of it and turned it into President's Day for efficiency. To have two federal holidays so close together was ridiculous and costly. And I didn't hear too many people griping then like now. Oh, racism, they don't want to do that on the Washington Lincoln Day. Yeah, they were a week or two apart, something like that. I don't remember. But they were both federal holidays and everything was closed. So they were combined into President's Day. And for just efficiency of not keeping everything shut down. But now, because Trump said this about Juneteenth, but even President's Day, there's no need for that to be a holiday where everything's shut down. I'm not saying don't keep it a holiday. They should really bring back Washington and Lincoln's birthdays as national holidays and keep everything open. Because who does anything to celebrate President's Day or Lincoln or Washington's birthday? No one. So that's kind of a ridiculous day to shut everything down too. But the left, they got to make everything about race and racism. And Juneteenth, very few people that are black do anything on Juneteenth. I saw on the local news yesterday, they had a camera crew at a Juneteenth celebration. It looked like a bunch of politicians on stage, Democrats griping about crap, and a few people in the crowd, but not much of a celebration. I mean, we have Martin Luther King Day. That's a federal holiday in January. What's wrong with that? So, no, President Trump is exactly right about Juneteenth. And if you got any thoughts on that, they're certainly welcome. We've got a lot of things to cover today. But as always, President Trump is right. Now, again, it is open phones every Friday, open MAGA Mike Friday. You're welcome to call about any and everything on your mind. The number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Wes from Texas.
Hey, Texas. What's up?
So, you're talking about Juneteenth not being a real holiday. No, I think you're wrong.
No, it's a real holiday. It's on the calendar. It's been recognized by many African Americans for many years, and Biden made it a federal holiday. So no, it is. I do know it's a holiday. Sure.
You just earlier you said it wasn't.
No, I didn't. It's obviously a holiday. It's a federal holiday. It's a federal. It's what I said was, should it be a federal holiday where everything is shut down in the country? And I said no.
If there's other holidays where things can be shut down, then so can Juneteenth.
But should they? But should they be? And this Canadian accent doesn't sound like a normal Texan accent to me. But if you want to go with that, that's okay.
It's 5:12 a.m. over where I'm at. I'm in Kilgore.
Yeah. Then where's Kilgore?
In East Texas, about an hour or so from Dallas.
5:12? I don't know. Well, whatever. Wherever you are or claim to be doesn't matter. I hear a little Canadian accent in that accent of yours, not Texan. But that's okay.
No, I was born in Oklahoma.
Born in Oklahoma.
You're trying to discredit me.
No, I'm not trying to discredit you. I'm not trying to discredit you. I just hear a little tinge.
Yeah, you are.
What would be discrediting you if you're Canadian? I've got Canadians in my family.
You mentioned it out of nowhere.
Because I heard a Canadian accent a little bit. I don't hear a Texan accent.
I have no reason to lie to you.
Well, you're a leftist, and leftists just do that naturally, that without reason oftentimes. But no, I pointed out, there are other holidays that are federal holidays where things shouldn't be shut down. As an example, President's Day. President's Day, They used to have two federal holidays, both in the same month. One was Washington's birthday, the other was Lincoln's birthday. And then in the 80s, they combined them into President's Day because to have two federal holidays so close together was stupid, inconvenient, and just a waste. So, but
Sure.
why is everything shut down on President's Day? That seems ridiculous to me. Who celebrates President's Day? It can still, just because something's a federal holiday doesn't mean the banks, the schools, and the government have to be shut down. It can still be a federal holiday. I worked yesterday.
Same.
So why should people have the day off work, banks closed too, schools closed too? It's really inconvenient because people have to find childcare that they may not have access to on these days. It's very inconvenient for parents. So why should everything be shut down on all these federal holidays? President Trump isn't saying Juneteenth should not be a holiday. He's just saying a lot of these holidays, things shouldn't be shut down, like the government that he's running.
Do you understand the importance of Juneteenth?
I do, yes. See, you Democrats, hold on. See, I do, but you tell me the importance of Juneteenth, and I'll tell you the real importance.
When you have our first president being an owner of slaves, we have President's Day. We have Juneteenth, when after a year, slavery should have ended. And racism didn't end up slavery being ended. It didn't end up the civil rights movement. But when you have a year after when it should have ended being reached down to, slaves in my home state, that's a problem.
Okay.
And that's very important.
Well, that's not exactly what happened. See,
back in the day, they wanted to keep control of their plantations.
This country,
so of course, they interrupted the communication between the union to let them know that they were free.
Nope. You've got part of a story, but you don't have the true story. Here's the deal: the Republican Party was established with one purpose and one purpose only. The Republic. You know what that was?
To end slavery.
To end slavery. Why did the Democrats lead an insurrection against the federal government?
Same reason why January 6th happened.
No. Why did the Democrats launch an insurrection? Why? Because Trump wasn't. No, had nothing to do with Trump. Why did the Democrats launch an Why did the Democrats launch an insurrection?
I know the answer that you want, because they wanted to keep slavery.
That's right.
Switched over,
and what happened was the Republicans freed the slaves and defeated the Democrat
insurrection. Not all the way, though. You have to admit, not all the way.
No, they did.
It was only between the northern and southern border.
No, that's not true. That's not true. See what they teach people in school. Do you see what they teach people in school? No, they passed the Republican Party, led by Lincoln. Okay, amended.
That part's true.
Listen, stop talking for a second and let me finish a thought. Okay, I understand you probably don't interact with people very often, so maybe you don't understand the proper way to have a discussion. But the Constitution was amended by Abraham Lincoln and the Republicans, freeing all the slaves everywhere. Okay.
No.
Yes.
Not initially. No.
Yes, initially. Just but I'm not here to educate you. I'm not. I'm just going to tell you about the. All right. Thank you for the call. I'm not going to. You can't. You've got to stop talking and taking turns. After the Republicans defeated the insurrectionist Democrats, they still did not free all their slaves, and Republican soldiers in Texas told the last slaves who were being held illegally by Democrats that they were free. That's Juneteenth. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We'll be right back. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there, guys. I want to talk about Tom LaPorta when we get back, and then we'll go back to the phones. We'll be back in a little more than a minute. Oh, I just popped my knee joint. I don't know if the mic picked that up or not. No, it's not about whether things. The issue isn't what should and should not be a federal holiday. It's should everything be shut down on certain federal holidays. President's Day, things should not be closed. Juneteenth, things should not be shut down. 1 minute, we'll be back. But when you call in, we have very few rules, but you have to take turns talking. When both of us are talking at the same time, people that are listening, it's mud. It's not clear. So you got to take turns. You can't overtalk. Like if you hear Steve Kane and I talk, we don't overtalk one another. We take turns. Even if we're arguing. You can't disagree with every syllable of every word. Whatever you Google about that will be untrue. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go back to our phones on this Open MAGA Mike Friday. I want to talk about Tom LaPorta and LaPorta Roofing. We found Tom LaPorta and LaPorta Roofing because Steve had a wet spot on his ceiling, and he didn't do anything about it. It was a little tiny spot about the size of, a quarter. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he started getting spots all over the place. And he had a major problem, right? Because he had a tiny little leak in his roof, and he ignored it. And we did not know Tom LaPorta then. This is how we met Tom LaPorta at LaPorta Roofing. He had neglected that wet spot on his ceiling. Things had gotten so bad, his roof was rotted away. He had to get a whole new roof. About 40% of the drywall in his home was filled with deadly black mold. I smelled it when I went over there, but I never said anything because you're going to tell someone their house stinks, You know what I mean? And when I didn't know it was black mold, but I knew there was a problem because I could smell it when I would go to his house. But Steve and his family didn't smell it because they lived there, and it happened gradually. So he had to get a whole new roof, 40% of the drywall replaced in his home because the leaks and the roof that he ignored went down and was soaked up by the drywall, and that's where the deadly black mold came from. And also he had a major termite infestation because the dampness, the water from the leaky roof was a breeding ground for termites who were eating his house. And Tom LaPorta at LaPorta Roofing took care of all that for him. But if he would have called Tom LaPorta when he saw that first wet spot on his ceiling, he probably would have just needed a simple repair. Give Tom LaPorta a call. This number I'm going to give you rings directly to Tom's cell phone. And did you know that LaPorta Roofing was named the best roofing company in Fort Lauderdale? But they don't just cover Fort Lauderdale. LaPorta Roofing covers both the east and west coast of Florida and everywhere in between. Give them a call, 954-604-4602. Again, this rings directly to Tom LaPorta's cell phone, 954-604-4602. And online, LaPortaRoofing.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is John from Wisconsin, Brian.
Hey, John.
My question is, did Biden sign that into law, or was it the auto pet?
That's a good question. That's a good question. The argument isn't whether or not there should be federal holidays like this. What President Trump is saying is, should everything be shut down on these certain federal holidays? President's Day, Juneteenth, and I'm sure we can think of others, And so
I find it interesting that Wikipedia has it as National Independence Day. We already have one of those. It's called July 4th.
Wait, what? They call Juneteenth Independence Day?
National Independence Day is what they're saying. So they're trying to push their agenda on the United States that, get rid of our statues.
You know what that is? Well, when they get rid of, when the Democrats take down those statues, do you know why they really take them down?
Yeah, they're erasing their mistakes. It's worse than that.
Yeah, that's right. The statues that BLM, the Democrats take down, those are statues of Democrats, the Confederate statues.
Correct.
And what they're doing is they're trying to wipe out, cancel out their own history because people are realizing
Correct.
that these slave owners were all Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah, if you look back in history, the Democrats have been responsible for the KKK rallies in the 20s and 30s.
Well, this is a fact. The Ku Klux Klan was the original Democrat community activist organization. That's a fact.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Hey,
yeah,
listen.
I just was wondering
if
it was Biden or the auto pen.
That's a good question. You got it. All right. Appreciate the call. Yeah, that's a good question. What's your name? You're on the air. Where are you calling from?
My name's Brendan. I'm from Lower Providence, Pennsylvania.
Hey, Pennsylvania. What's up?
So, you're talking about Juneteenth.
Correct.
So I just wanted to talk about why you don't think Juneteenth should be a federal holiday.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying everything should not be closed on Juneteenth or President's Day, for that matter. But go ahead.
Okay. So
Give me your liberal rant. I'm interested.
All right. So we have 11 holidays that are federally recognized in the United States, and if you want to say that we close everything, we close everything on Juneteenth. We close everything on MLK Day and Columbus Day. So I don't know where that came from, but
well, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't need to close everything down on Columbus Day. You know, listen. I give you an example. Where do you live? What state are you in?
I currently live in Allston, Massachusetts.
Okay, you're okay. Oh, okay. The People's Republic of Massachusetts. Okay, I'm in Florida. When I was a kid in elementary school in Columbus, Ohio, it was the 70s. And I moved to Florida in the early 80s and started 5th grade in Florida. And I was shocked. I didn't even know what these were. But when my first year in 5th grade of school in Florida, we got off for the Jewish holidays. But when I was going to elementary school in Columbus, Ohio, we did not get out of school for the Jewish holidays, you know, the year before. So why do we get out of school for Jewish holidays? Now, again, I'm sure they get out in Ohio now for the Jewish holidays, but back then you didn't. So why in Florida in the 70s and early 80s did kids get out of school on Jewish holidays, but in Columbus, Ohio, they didn't?
I can't speak for Floridian.
Well, then use your common sense. No, I'm not asking you to speak for anyone. Use your common sense. This was like 1981, 1982. I moved to Florida. I started 5th grade. We get out of school for Jewish holidays. I was in Columbus, Ohio, my first 5 years of schooling, K through 4. We didn't get out of school for Jewish holidays. I didn't even know what they were. So is Florida more enlightened? Was Ohio anti-Semitic? Why did they not let kids out of school on Jewish holidays in Ohio, but they did in Florida?
Well, maybe because there might be more Jewish students there.
Yeah, Florida has a very large Jewish population. There are more Jews in Florida than in Israel. And Columbus, Ohio at the time, there were no Jews really to speak of, you know, a handful of people. So the reason things closed in Florida, the reason the schools were closed in Florida on Jewish holidays, a lot of Jewish students and teachers and administrators and stuff. In Ohio, there weren't enough people recognizing those days to warrant it. Now, Juneteenth, what did you do for Juneteenth yesterday? How'd you celebrate?
Funny you say that, actually. I worked at a block party.
You worked? What do you mean you worked at a block party?
It was a local block party funded by my town in Massachusetts.
So were you paid? Were you paid?
Was I paid? I was. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't celebrate Juneteenth. You were paid. You worked on Juneteenth. I worked on Juneteenth yesterday too.
Are you saying that you can't be both paid and enjoy the holiday?
And enjoy, but you weren't recognizing or celebrating the holiday. You got a job. You were working. So you did nothing on Juneteenth other than you would normally do, which is work.
That's
true.
An interesting philosophy. No.
Yeah. Sure.
It's more of a.
Let me ask you: Are you white? You sound white. Are you white?
I am white. Yes.
Why are you taking money from black people on Juneteenth? Shouldn't you be at least working for free to give your reparations?
I was selected for this volunteership.
You didn't say volunteer. You said you got paid. Now you were volunteering when you realized it,
It's a paid volunteer.
A paid? No. There's no such thing as a paid volunteership. When you volunteer, you're donating your time for nothing. When you're getting paid, you're working. That's not volunteering.
Well,
so you did not. You worked on Juneteenth.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. I worked for. It's classified in my state as a volunteership.
No, but you were paid. But you were paid. When you told me you were paid. That's not volunteering.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Fine. I was paid. Okay, it was
okay. Volunteer. I have volunteered for things, and I didn't get paid. Like I used to run the sound at church. I volunteered to run the sound at church. I was like the board op for the church, right? For church services and funerals and stuff. They didn't pay me. I volunteered. If they paid me, I would have been working for the church.
I don't think you're understanding. Like you're kind of missing the point here. What I'm saying is that I took my time out of my day
and got paid
and worked. Well, I didn't get paid a lot, first of all.
So what? That's relative. You still got paid. So the question was, what did you do to celebrate Juneteenth that you think is an important day, and you didn't celebrate it? You got it. You were working. You got paid. You got a job and were paid. What did you do? What was your job?
What was my job? I worked at the check-in table. I had to hand out drinks to people. I told people to have a great Juneteenth. We're very much in the event.
I mean, if you're being in the People's Republic of Liberal Massachusetts as a white guy, I mean, why are you taking money from black people? Shouldn't you be like donating your time? Why would you take money from black people on such a historic day about the end of slavery? Don't you owe them? Don't you owe black people something? Don't you owe a debt to black people?
I don't think you're okay. First of all, do you know what Juneteenth is?
Yes.
What the purpose is?
Yes.
What is it?
The purpose of Juneteenth is to cause a racial divide in this country between white and black people.
Okay.
That's what Democrats do. That's the purpose of it. I know what the historical significance of the day. Yeah. It's when the Republican Union soldiers told the last African Americans held in bondage by the Democrats in Texas that they were freed by the Republican president Abraham Lincoln with, what was it? Was it the 13th Amendment that freed the slaves? I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah.
The 13th Amendment.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the day.
All right. So first of all, okay, sure, yes, that was the literal meaning of the holiday. But Juneteenth has been celebrated in African American circles since 1865.
No, that's fine. But why couldn't I go to the bank yesterday? You're calling me. Do you know you're concerned about racism? You are in the most racist state in this union. Do you know what school district was the last school district to desegregate and allow black students to sit in classrooms next to white students? What school district? Do you know? Boston. That's right. Boston, Massachusetts. So here you are, a Democrat, which is the party of the Confederacy, slave owner, and Ku Klux Klan, calling me from the state, and you're as small as it is, no matter where you are in Massachusetts, you're Boston, calling from the state that was the last to desegregate the public schools. What was that about? Why are these Democrats in Massachusetts, why did they fight so hard to keep white and black students away from each other?
I, again, did not live at that time.
Yeah, but your grandparents did.
My grandparents were from Ireland, dude. That was not part of that. And second of all, we tend to confront our history here. We talk about how Boston had struggled with race relations in the 1960s, and we also talk about the issues. We talk about that. I don't know.
Nothing good comes from the Democrats. You know, a Democrat killed President Lincoln. The Democrats launched an insurrection against the federal government when they fired on Fort Sumter. Every black man lynched in America was lynched by a Democrat. I mean, you're in a very racist party. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break, but I appreciate the call, man. Take care. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. Now, guys, listen, if you are a Medicare recipient or you're turning 65 soon, give Chapter a call for free help with your Medicare. You know, Medicare is very, very confusing for everyone, okay? And it's done that way on purpose. They don't want you to be able to figure it out. Chapter, no matter where you are in the United States, you can call the number that's on the screen. I'll say it out loud in a moment, and the number is also in the description of the video. Chapter is the only national company that goes through all of the over 24,000 Medicare policies and finds the one that's right for you and your budget. You know, it's so confusing. People end up with Medicare plans that are insurance in name only, right? They have problems getting some of their doctors covered, their medications covered. They're paying for things they shouldn't be paying for. Some people are paying thousands of dollars a year. They don't have to. When you call Chapter, you're going to get a live person on the phone. They're going to walk you through everything and explain everything to you. And they do go over those over 24,000 plans with you. And the person you talk to on the phone is not a commissioned salesman like with these other companies you hear about. They're on a salary, okay? So whether you go with them or not, they still get paid. So they're not going to push you into anything. And it's free. Give them a call, 805-754-3033. Again, the number is in the description of the video, 805-754-3033. We'll be back in less than a minute, and there's one opening on the board. Great calls, I appreciate it. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. There's one opening on the board on this Open Mega Mic Friday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Mark from Randolph. How are you?
All right, Mark. What's on your mind?
Hey, you keep talking about how the Republicans were the straight saviors of America. The
Correct.
Democrats were like the cause of all evil.
Correct.
I think what you're missing is, and you're a fan of history, so you must know this. What happened in 1964?
Well, first off, I'm not a fan of history. I have a college degree in history. Tell me what happened in 64.
Okay, so you know what happened in 19...
Tell me what
happened. The party switched. the platforms.
The
of
party
both parties
switched. The party switched.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that.
So,
Tell me about that the party switch. Tell me about that.
okay, after the Civil Rights Movement.
No, excuse me. In 1964, the Civil Rights Movement was still going on. Martin Luther King was assassinated in 1968. But go ahead. What happened in 64?
Sure. Okay, so if you watch the electoral maps between 1960 and 1964, there was an ideology shift in America where the Republicans became more segregationist, and the Democrats kind of switched to adapt to the Civil Rights movement.
Who was I don't blame you for thinking this stupidity, because liberals have been teaching this lie, for over half a century. Mm-hmm. Who was the president in 1964? Oh my goodness.
Not sure.
Think about it. 1964.
JFK?
JFK was already assassinated. No, JFK was dead. Lyndon Johnson. Okay?
Okay.
Lyndon Johnson was president in 1964. Do you know what political party he was?
Republican.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's besides the point.
No, it's. No. I mean, this is. I mean, are you? How old are you?
38.
Oh my goodness! What's your highest level of education?
I have a piloting degree from the U.S.
You have a what degree? You have a what degree?
I have my piloting degree. I went to college for piloting.
You went to college, and you think that Lyndon Johnson, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, was a Republican? How could you go through 12 years of public education in college and think that? No, he was a Democrat. Okay. But your party switch, he was a Democrat. And he was a Democrat before 1964, and he was a Democrat until he died in I forgot what year he died in. But, this party switch thing never happened. This idea that the Democrats and Republicans met and said, okay, we're going to become Republicans, all these evil people in the party, and the good people are going to become Democrats. Don't you think if some historical meeting took place where this big switch happened, don't you think that there would be like movies made about this? Documentaries, there'd be photographs of it. The party switch is a lie. It is it is a big liberal lie, the party switch. Big liberal lie.
So that's not true at all.
It never happened.
So what happened?
There was this thing called the Dixiecrats, okay? I'll tell you the real story.
Yep, absolutely.
I'll tell you the real story, okay? There were this group of Democrats. One of them was the father of Al Gore. And they, segregation now, segregation forever Democrats. They left the Democrat Party temporarily and formed the Dixiecrats. Okay, there were about 22 of them, maybe 25. I don't know the exact number, but it was in the low to mid 20s. Every single one of them, of the Dixiecrats, went back to the Democrat Party except one. Strom Thurmond became a Republican. The other 20-some went back to the Democrat Party. There was no party switch. It's a big lie that liberals have been telling for over 50 years. It's not true. I don't care what you Google. It's not true. It's a big lie. It's one of the biggest lies ever told in America.
Okay, so southern states right now, would you agree that most of them are red states?
Well, there's been mass migration in this country where, like, I'm originally from the north, the populations have grown and changed. It's not the same thing because with the interstate highway system and such, people started moving. It has nothing to do with people woke up and changed. My family have been from Ohio for centuries and fought in the Union Army. Okay? The South is the South. The North's the North. The Democrats were the party of slavery. In fact, Joe Biden, as late as 1978, went to Jimmy Carter, who was president. Joe Biden, when he was in the U.S. Senate in 1978, was trying to get Jimmy Carter to give an exception to private schools so they could continue the segregation of private schools in 1978. So the big switch. I'm not giving you a hard time. A lot of people think this. It didn't happen. The big switch did not happen. It is a big lie.
So the Republicans in the South that are holding the Confederate flag, they're just really confused as to that they're actually holding a Democrat flag?
When you see a political rally, there are two, and there's someone holding the Confederate flag. Usually they're a Democrat activist who's holding the Confederate flag so they can make the Republican event look like a racist event.
What?
Yeah.
You're being serious?
As a heart attack.
An undertone in America that all these guys are Democrats?
As a heart attack. Sometimes there are people that are, old Southern good old boys. There aren't too many of those anymore, and they may have a Confederate flag around. But most people that carry a Confederate flag at Republican events are Democrat activists trying to make the event look like a Klan rally. That's true. That's a fact.
Man, there must be a lot of Democratic activists.
Yeah, they do. They do this all the time. Democrat activists who were paid by USAID, shut down by the great Elon Musk, infiltrate conservative events all the time, pretending to be us. That's exactly right. Correct.
Man, I think I should switch parties to the conservative side because you guys have a boogeyman for everything that you don't want to see in America.
No, we're just in. I got to run to a break. I'm late for the break.
No, I would too. Yeah, I get it.
I got to. I'm late. I'm 2 minutes. I'm 2 minutes late. You think I'm running from you? Are you kidding? I talk to you all day. Oh man. All right. It's amazing. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. You can't learn about American history by Googling, okay? That's where a lot of this misinformation is coming from. People do internet searches. The party switch never happened. If something so big happened during the era of television, I mean, look, the guy thought Johnson was a Republican. What the freak does he know? I mean, my goodness. He was JFK's vice president. Jeez. Amazing. Less than a minute, we'll be back. Stand by. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome back. I'm Brian. Every line on the board is lit. Before we go back to our interesting callers, I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. He's rid me of pain 7 times, but if you've been in an accident, an auto accident, or any type of accident, you can take advantage of what he has to offer too. He is incredible. I am a pain-free man because of Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. Listen, his laser away pain treatment works. Remember, with the laser treatment, there's no injections, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime, and no appointment needed, even on Saturdays. The laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of: arthritis, bursitis, work and sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, post-surgical swelling, neck and back injuries, knee conditions, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, acute and chronic pain, rotary tears, herniated discs, and more. And remember, if you have x-rays or scans, bring them with you. I'm going to give you the number to call. But again, appointments are not necessary, and the consultation is free. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, man. How you doing?
All right.
Cornelius from Augusta, Georgia.
Hey, what's up?
Not much, man. I'm a Trump supporter, man. But anyway, I'm not a fan of Juneteenth. I know some people it's a touchy subject, but to me, I'm not a fan. It don't make sense to me because why would you celebrate something that really, it's like somebody owing you something and you didn't get it when you were supposed to, and then you celebrate it when you get it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't see. I could see maybe a Memorial Day for it, like a memorial type thing, but I don't see the celebration in it.
Well, I'm not opposed to it being recognized historically or even a federal holiday. But what President Trump was talking about yesterday, there are too many federal holidays where everything is closed and things don't need to be closed. And my guess is, since the federal government is closed, he probably wanted to get something done yesterday that he couldn't because the government was shut down. Right? Because of Juneteenth. Exactly. And let's be honest. While there are some people who do go to Juneteenth celebrations, very few do. Even black people. Very few go to these things. So, I mean, it's not, it's not like the 4th of July or Memorial Day that everybody recognizes. So it's okay to have a day to remember. I'm always up for telling people that the Democrats wouldn't let their slaves be freed even when the 13th Amendment was ratified, and that's what Juneteenth signifies. Right. But like I was talking at the top of the hour, I made a bank transaction electronically yesterday, and I forgot that the banks were closed. It didn't go through. It'll go through today, but I needed it to go through yesterday. And obviously, President Trump, here we are on the verge of war with Iran. And something happened that he needed to get done yesterday with the government, and he couldn't get it done because Juneteenth, the federal government was shut down. Exactly. So there, and I said, President's Day is another day that the government doesn't need to be shut down, or the banks, or the schools. Just because it's a holiday, a federal holiday, doesn't mean that we have to shut down everything. That's the difference.
Thank you. Oh, and I was going to say, too, all of these people that keep saying that the party switch, if you want proof, look up Robert K.K. Byrd.
Yes.
He was a Democrat till he died in the 80s.
Yeah, so he was. Robert Byrd was a Grand Kleagle with the Ku Klux Klan. He was a lifelong Democrat, and Joe Biden, his best friend, right?
Yep.
Robert Byrd.
Yep.
Yeah, and they buried him. It's rumored in his Klan robes. Oh.
Oh wow.
It's rumored. Robert K.K. Byrd. Wow. KKK Byrd. Yes. Yeah. Yep. And he used the N-word he used the N-word like in the 90s. He was still using the N-word. All right, take care. Appreciate the call from Georgia. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? I can't hear you. You got to speak up, man. Got a bad connection. Call back, okay? Do me a favor. Call back. Let's go over here. Hold on. Phones are ringing off the hook. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm John from Texas, and I just want to say, man,
here we
you've got to stop the lies.
What
The
lie?
fact that
What lie did I tell?
Well, you're just missing the whole point.
No. You said I'm a liar. What lie did I tell?
Well, for one, how can you be sitting there as a Republican with a flag like that and then still say that they're a Democrat and then keep flipping and flopping?
What flag? What? Well, now you got to understand, there's a difference of opinion is different than lying. A difference of opinion is a difference of opinion. A lie is knowingly telling something that's not true. So what you say that I've got to stop telling lies. Name the biggest lie you heard me say today.
Well, for one, you keep going on and on about the Democrats, and it's just only the Democrats that sit there and do slaves and stuff, which
That's true.
That is not true. It's not just Democrats.
The Democrat, yes. In fact, when the Civil War broke out, not one Republican owned slaves.
I can finish my sentence, sir, please. At that point in time, it wasn't just Democrats. It's always been about who is the richer and who is the poor.
No.
That is something
No,
that
listen,
never
the Republican Party, excuse me, Abraham Lincoln, excuse me, I'm speaking. Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president. He was a Republican. Before that, he was a Whig. He became a Republican. The Republican Party was new. Do you know why the Republican Party was established? Why did these people establish the Republican Party? Do you know?
Why?
It was the abolitionist movement. The abolitionists were the ones advocating to free the slaves. The whole foundation of the Republican Party was founded on the principle of freeing the slaves. And when the first Republican was elected president, the Democrats launched an insurrection known as the American Civil War to keep their slaves. Republicans didn't own slaves because we were the abolitionist party. That was the whole purpose of the party. That was the whole platform, 100% the whole platform, to abolish slavery.
So now
you didn't even know that, and you're in America. It's not your fault.
Tell me a single Republican that's ever owned a slave.
There was one.
There was one.
One. Yeah, one. I'm not exaggerating. Ulysses S. Grant's father gave him a slave, okay, when he got married, which President Grant, General Grant, freed.
Okay, let's admit more right after they don't even do slavery.
Who's talking to you back there? You getting coached by someone?
No,
Who's talking to you?
it doesn't matter. Point is, though,
It doesn't matter.
Not,
They're listening. They're listening and telling you what to say to me. Oh my goodness. Is that your dad? Is that your dad back there?
to run this country.
What's the lie I told? You said I'm a liar. Tell me one of the lies I told.
The slandering of Democrats.
The slandering of, what did I say about Democrats that was a lie?
You always, everything that you have said today that has been bad has always been on blame only Democrats.
Yeah. Democrats were the party of slavery. The Democrats founded the Ku Klux Klan. The Democrats put Americans of Japanese descent in concentration camps during the Second World War. The Democrats, led by Franklin Roosevelt, were responsible for the Tuskegee experiments, giving black people syphilis without any medication. Yeah, all these things were done by Democrats.
And what about today's time?
What about today's time?
I'm asking you, what about today's time? What are the Democrats doing in today's time?
Oh, terrible things. The American population is overall about 12% African American. About. I know in some states and cities it's different, but overall the black population is about 12%. That's what it's been my entire life. I'm 54 years old. Why do you think the black population has maintained a constant about 12% of the population for half a century? Why do you think that is?
Why?
Abortion. Democrats have been advocating abortion since, well, Roe v. Wade in 73, but even before that. And abortion clinics, when they were around all over the place, now there's pills and things you can get at the drugstore for it. But in the abortion clinic era, abortion clinics were historically located in African-American neighborhoods. And the black population has remained around 12% because of abortion. If it weren't for abortion, the black population would be maybe 20% of the population today. That's brought to you by Democrats. You want to know what they do today? That's what they've been doing today. Since you asked. Maybe that person whispering to you has a response.
Well, you don't need to worry about the person that's whispering in the background, okay? Because that person in the background has nothing to do with the conversation that we're having.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm up against the top of the hour break, but I know these are some hard realities you're facing today about your sick, twisted, racist, disgusting, anti-Semitic party, but these are all true. Hey, take care, man, all right? 1 hour down, 2 to go. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Our number is 888-465-2631. It's open phones on Friday. Any and everything on your mind's fair game on the phones. We'll be back right after this. Oh, my goodness. Isn't that something? That is something. If you're on hold, hang in there. All right. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones. Yeah, if you're new, I'm on a bunch of radio stations. This is our top of the hour break on the radio. And these callers that you're hearing, some of them are on YouTube. Some of them are listening on a streaming app that carries the show. And some of them are from one of our radio stations. And all the calls are completely screenless and unvetted, which means no one answers the phone. When you call in, you just get put on hold. I have no idea who's on hold or what you're going to talk about until I say, you're on the air, what's your name, where are you calling from? If you watch on my other feed, you get the benefit of the green screen. You get to see the videos, hear the sound bites and things I play. We'll be back in about a minute. Less than a minute now. All right, stand by in just a few seconds. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. It is open phones every Friday. We call it Open Mega Mic Friday. You can call in on Friday's show on any and everything that's on your mind. The show preps up to you guys. You don't have to comment about anything I bring up. It's fair game on Friday. And I just had mentioned at the top of the show and stirred some interest that President Trump, he posted on Truth that we have too many federal holidays where everything is closed. And, of course, yesterday was Juneteenth. And my guess is that President Trump was trying to do something important while we're on the verge of war with Iran, and he couldn't get something done because the government was closed for no reason yesterday. All right, back to the phones. We shall go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Harlem.
Hey, Renee.
You should be ashamed of yourself, man. You are disgusting. First of all, you're spreading all these stupid lies about the Democratic Party. First of all, neither the Democrats or the Republicans are to blame. They're both to blame. It's a white thing, okay? Both of you people.
What's a white thing? What's a white thing?
Europeans took us from Africa and brought us over
Excuse
here.
me. I missed the part. Hold on, Renee. I missed the part in history. Okay, when I was studying history. Okay.
You didn't get a thing. You didn't learn a thing.
No, you're gonna educate me. When did Europe invade Africa and steal all the black people? Because what I learned watching Roots and studying history is that black tribe members they captured black prisoners and they were sold to the slave ship owners and captains by their own people in Africa.
Oh, you learned so much. Oh boy, you learned it from Roots. I see. Okay.
Alex Haley. Alex Haley's a liar now. You don't trust Alex Haley?
He wrote a book, you dummy, and you're getting your history from a book.
So when did the Europeans invade Africa and kidnap all the black people? The slave ships were unarmed and just were along the coast, and the Africans were giving them to. Well, they were selling their own people.
Shut up, okay? First of all, you people went into Africa and you got other African people to kidnap other African people. So Africans
captured black people and sold them into slavery. Okay.
Shut up.
You tell me to shut up again, you're going to be gone. I'll put up with a lot. One more time, you'll be gone.
Dummy, retard.
He hung up. Too much truth. He couldn't handle the truth. That's right. You know, but I got to tell let me say without the arguing what I was saying. Okay, the Europeans did not invade Africa and take it over. They were just along the coastline. African tribes people captured other tribes people and sold them into slavery. So why does Africa not have a debt? Where is their responsibility? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, how's it going?
All right, man, I tell you. Some of these callers today are getting an education.
I don't think they're going to listen too well, especially Renee. He's having a mental breakdown.
He hung up, Renee.
Right now.
Renee hung up.
Yeah, I know it. I mean, these people, they have been lied to their whole lives. Their mothers and their grandmothers have been telling them folklore forever. These white liberals that call in from Massachusetts and all these places that are so do-gooder.
The paid volunteer.
I want to know what black person they hired. I want to know what homeless person they've helped. I want to see something that these people have done because they swear they've done so much for the world. When all they do is sit online, sit in front of a TV, and get educated by it, okay? They have nothing. Their education system has been broke down since I was a child, and I saw it with my own eyes. Seeing it with your own eyes as a white man growing up next to black kids,
it was like almost wanting to shed your skin like a chameleon, because you were automatically made to feel white guilt. So Renee's argument, I'll dissect that just for a second. He's telling me that white people were so worried about it that they had to go around the regular way to capture people and just enslave them, that they would go to black people and say, hey, black people in this tribe, we want you to go get those ones because they look stronger.
Yeah.
What on earth is the man talking about? He is so retarded that himself, he needs to go get checked out. But the white liberal that called from Massachusetts, that young child that has nobody.
The paid volunteer, or the one that had some guy with, the paid volunteer.
The paid volunteer, that one's my favorite one, because he really believes, because he lives in a liberal Democrat place like Massachusetts, that it smells like pee in most of the places there.
It's true.
All right, they don't take care. They don't take care of their place at all. When I went there, I was disgusted. Decatur, I think that's what it is. Is it Decatur? Or,
I don't know.
Remember.
I can't remember.
I think it's Worcester. It's Worcester. That whole area is dilapidated. All of the roads are broke down. Every bridge is breaking down in front of you, and you can smell the asbestos coming from some of these buildings. So what I want to know is, what are these liberals going to do when their state's crumbling and people are running from it, just like California is right now?
Yeah.
I really don't know why they feel the way that they feel, but they've never been in the situation that I've been in, where I've helped homeless people, I have hired black people, and I'm not looking for credit, and I don't care. But being in the situation that I'm in a lower income area where I grew up at, North Lauderdale, I live in Wellington now, but in North Lauderdale, where I grew up at, it is still the bastion of liberal hive. The people there are some of the poorest in Florida.
That's right.
And not
go
to
the Democrat paradise of Belglade if you want to see what liberalism at work. Well, listen, these callers I've been talking to today, okay, it's not their fault. They've gone to a liberal education system and have been brainwashed to think a lot of things that aren't true. That's it. I mean, I almost feel sorry for them.
I would love to see the apartment that Renee called you from, because I guarantee you he has crystal glasses and gold silverware, because he has been ingratiated by his parents, by his mother, by his...
Oh, you think he's rich? You think he's rich?
Oh, I guarantee it.
Really?
I guarantee you he is a trust fund. I guarantee you he's a trust fund, baby, getting paid off...
Oh, and he has... You think he has guilt? You think he has guilt? Liberal guilt?
No, I don't think he has any... I think he has zero guilt.
Then why is he so angry? Then why is he so angry?
I believe that he's angry at himself because he's allowed himself to be a victim till he was 50.
Yeah. Hey, listen, great call. Appreciate it, man. From the mean streets of Wellington. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Wesley. I wanted to call in and apologize for earlier. I think I got off on the wrong foot.
Well, that's okay. I appreciate that, and I welcome you to the program. I'm glad you're here, and
for sure.
All right, we'll talk again. All right, take care. It is a great thing, Mike Lindell at MyPillow. He had a great victory in his lawsuit. He was being sued. He and MyPillow were being sued for over $60 million. Can you believe this? And he won because the settlement that was awarded was just over $2 million $2 million put me out of business, but him, it's a lot less than over 60. MyPillow was completely spared in the settlement, and he only had to pay a little over $2 million, Mike Lindell. So he had a big victory this week. MyPillow has just been a big, big life changer, as many of the sponsors have been on this program to my life. Okay, you guys, you hear me talk all the time. I get about 4 hours sleep a night, 5 hours sleep a night, because I'm just so busy. I do this show. I'm on YouTube all the time. I got my podcast. I'm just busy. And that little bit of sleep I get, though, is well-rested REM sleep. My 4 to 5 hours is like a normal person's 8 to 10. because I've got the entire MyPillow sleep system. Now, I want to tell you guys about one of my favorites, and that's the MyPillow sheets. Listen to this. You'll get a perfect night's sleep with these. The MyPillow sheets keep you the perfect temperature all night long, especially during these hot summer months. You feel like you've got an air conditioning unit in your bed. It is just beautiful. And right now, you can get the MyPillow sheets for as low as $24.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout at mypillow.com. That's Kane. That's right. As low as $24.98. You got to use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You know, the best night's sleep starts with great sheets. I got to say that slow so I get that S out. Great sheets. And there are no sheets better than Mike Lindell's MyPillow sheets. As low as $24.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout at mypillow.com. You can also order by phone toll-free 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back. Welcome. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go back to the phones when we get back. Oh, yeah. 2 million instead of 60 million is a big win for Michael. Are you kidding? If you're on hold, hang in there. Yes, it is open phones every Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. On Fridays, you can call in about any and everything on your mind, not just the things I bring up, and the number is toll-free. It's pinned in the live chat. Got about a little bit of time here. 2 minutes, and we'll be back. We'll be back in about a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. Very good calls today. I appreciate the calls. Very, very thoughtful, inspired some discussion. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. You'll love my content. I'm here all the time if you're new, including weekends. Monday through Friday, I take the live calls. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show on this open MAGA mic Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. Back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Once. Twice. All right. We'll go here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Brenda. I'm calling from Western Loudoun County in Virginia.
All right, Brenda. What's on your mind?
Actually, my question or discussion idea is about the idea that so many people think that Trump would use a nuke for this, and they don't understand that it isn't. It wouldn't be.
Yeah, in fact, President Trump has said so many times you can't even talk about nuclear weapons. I love how the left are worried about Trump with a nuke, but not Iran. Iran, it's okay.
Yeah.
But Trump, oh.
Well, Brian, let me ask you. I see that a decision has been made. I haven't seen the news yet today.
No, President Trump said that he's going to give them 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, he'll make a decision on what to do. He sees a path to peace available. The Israelis, they released the imagery yesterday. They took out the nuclear facility. They showed it. You can see the big, those nuclear smokestacks. It's like destroyed. They showed it yesterday. So they don't have the ability to make a nuclear weapon at this moment. The Israelis took care of that. So that's left open a window, and yeah.
So let me ask you a question. If it's open lines, one more. That is, how can I get over being afraid to share my political views on Facebook? Because I have so many Democratic friends.
Well, that's the problem. You got Democrat. Do you know how many Democrat friends I have?
No.
Zero. Why do you think?
Good.
Well, why do you think I don't have Democrat friends? I mean, I have Democrats that listen to me. I'm talking about like real friends. I'm talking about real friends.
Because it's a conflict of interest. It's a total conflict of interest. I see that now.
Well, I think this is what it is, okay? And I'm talking about real friends, okay? That like you know, real people, not followers on things. Because obviously I got a lot of Democrats who follow me on everything. You hear the calls. I'm not talking about social media. Those aren't friends. The reason, when you have people that are your friends, you have things in common. And I don't have anything in common with Democrats. So I have no Democrats as personal friends.
Right. Well, gosh, what an inspiration to use scissors and go cutting.
Yeah, go make some Republican friends. All right, go take care. I appreciate the call. All right, some very good callers today, I must say. You're on. Oh, hold on. Oh, the phones are very busy. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
Everything that's happening is to the benefit of Trump and MAGA. The Democrats are on their last breath of air. They don't know what to do. They have nothing to stand on. Absolutely nothing. And the deranged liberals are getting more deranged, but the moderates, I believe, are coming more center. And we're going to see in the next year to two a great surge of Democrats leaving that party. I believe that with my whole heart. And the telltale will be the midterm elections.
See, the Democrats, this big, beautiful bill, when he gives the biggest tax cut to a group of people that have never gotten it, the biggest one in history, no tax on tips, that's going to be very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, very powerful.
People are going to see that when the Democrats are in charge, you have less money. When a good Republican's in charge, you have more money. It comes down to, are you better off now than you were under Biden.
Yeah, and I went
It's
to
that simple.
I was at the grocery store a couple days ago. I don't go to the physical grocery store too much. My wife and I, we do Instacart, right? But I went there the other day because I was out of coffee creamer. I needed coffee creamer. And I looked at eggs. Now, I went to Publix. Publix is known as the most expensive groceries in Florida. And what were egg prices when Biden was president, when Trump first came in? Do you remember?
$7 or $8 a dozen.
Okay. I took a photograph, which I'll post this to my Instagram, okay? Now, this is at Publix that has the highest prices of any of the stores, okay? $3.59 for a dozen at Publix. $3.59.
Wow.
So that's like they've dropped in half. They're like, that's like 50% of what they were on Trump's first day. And I took a picture. I'll put it on my Instagram, Brian Craig Show on Instagram. I'll post it up there in a bit. You can see the picture for those that don't believe me.
I hate to jump topics really fast, but with Iran, Israel is doing exactly what they need to do preemptively to prevent nuclear war, and America is 100% behind them. And Trump is giving Iran another warning. He gave them a warning, those leaders, to make the deal, and they didn't, and they were wiped out. Trump's trying to make a deal with them, and he told them you got 2 weeks. Well, that could mean 2 hours, 2
He said
days.
he'll make his decision within 2 weeks. Yes, exactly.
That's right.
He didn't say he got 2 weeks. He says he'll, and that's probably how long it takes to get some assets in place that he wants in place. That's probably what happens.
Right. And what we're doing with Israel is preventing a nuclear bomb from being set off. And they were waiting to get multiple because they don't want to do just one. It's very serious what's going on with Iran, and their oil fields being wiped out. China gets 10% or something oil from them, and that's going to hurt China. And China's been running their mouth, but I think Trump's dealing with that fine.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of countries, Russia, Turkey, there's a lot of countries, being affected by this. Mm-hmm. This is not just Iran.
Yep, that's right. Hey, Jeff, I got to run, but I appreciate the call. Good call. I agree with everything you said. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Dave. I just want to say what a great thing that Trump was embarrassed at the G7 summit.
I missed that. When was he embarrassed?
Oh, when nobody greeted him when he walked off the plane, and when the Canadian Prime Minister pulled the reporters out of the room when Trump was talking, he was embarrassed.
First off, that did not happen. There were people there greeting him, and the Canadian Prime Minister tried to shut it down, and they were still asking questions, and President Trump was still answering.
Right. Sure thing.
Now, why do you got to use the R word? You know, there are people out there that are mentally challenged. Why do you got to use the R word?
Because you are one. That's why. If you weren't one, I wouldn't call you one.
No, that you'll understand that the R word is very offensive to people and families that have mental disabilities in them. You know that, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking, thinking I care what you think.
It's not what It's not what I think. Of course you care what I think. You listen to me and you call me. Of course you care what I think.
No.
If you don't care what I think or do, why do you listen and call me? I don't call you. You call me.
You call me. I don't care.
I'm not going to call you. You call me. So you listen to me. No. You made a statement that doesn't make sense. You said he's trying to get hung up on. You said that you don't care what I think, but you listen to me and you call and participate. So not only do you care what I think, you want feedback from me and some type of validation. So to say that you don't care about me or what I think, it just doesn't pass what Steve's got this great phrase. That doesn't pass the smile test.
Well, okay, sure thing. Whatever makes you happy, buddy.
No, it's just a reality. Did you not call me?
No, the reality is MAGA sucks, all right?
What about MAGA sucks?
Well, they're full of retards. And so
No. What policy What policy does the MAGA movement support that you think sucks? No tax on tips? Does that suck? No tax on overtime?
Right. That's that revisionist history. It's no tax on tips that you claim, and everybody knows that if you get cash, you don't claim it.
Nobody pays in cash anymore. And most people pay electronically. Most people pay with Apple Pay and debit cards. So which part of the MAGA platform sucks? No tax on tips, no tax on overtime?
No tax on some of the tips. Say it correctly.
No tax on tips. So what part of the MAGA platform you said sucks? What part sucks to you?
Just that you're part of it, really. I mean,
you can't think you don't support Trump or the MAGA movement, but you can't think of one policy that sucks.
I don't have to do anything for you.
No, it's that you can't. You can't even think of anything. You can't even think of anything. And I know you're desperate to get hung up on, but you're gonna. I'm hanging up now because it's break time. I'm 2 minutes late for the break, but thanks for your call. Oh my goodness. We'll be right back. Okay, I just put that picture on my Instagram of the eggs. Eggs are down 50%. 50% in Florida. At Publix. Publix has the highest prices. Now, guys, I want to remind those of you that are Medicare recipients or turning 65 at some point in the future, get free help with your Medicare from Chapter. The number on the screen, it's also in the description of the video. You call that number no matter where you are in the United States, 805-754-3033. Whichever one of the 50 states you're in, give them a call. You're going to talk to a live person who's on salary, not some commissioned phone salesperson. And they'll find the Medicare policy that's right for you. They review all of the over 24,000 Medicare policies that are in the United States and find the one that fits you, your needs, and your budget. You know, a lot of people, they try to go it alone or they get some pushy salesman on the phone and they end up with a Medicare policy that's a policy in name only. It doesn't cover all their doctors or specialists or oftentimes even their medications. It costs them thousands of dollars a year making these mistakes. With Chapter, you'll get answers. You'll get them fast. And that number right there, I'm going to give it to you, is also in the description of the video. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. Give them a call, all right? You'll be very happy that you did, I promise you. All right, now let's see here. We'll be back in less than a minute. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. Back to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yep. You're on the air.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
All right. How are you?
Good, good. I just
Here we go.
wanted to address something you were saying about the Europeans going to Africa. And that is, first of all, three things, and you can put so many more things there. Two wrongs don't make a right. So if somebody is capturing somebody and making them a slave, it doesn't make it right for somebody else to come in.
Who said it was right?
And say, oh.
Who said slavery was right?
But you're proposing like, hey, well, Europeans didn't go in and
No, I got a call. Renee from Harlem, who is a anti-white racist, called in and said that white Europeans stole the Africans and forced them into bondage. And what I had said to him is I missed the part where the Europeans invaded Africa. The slaves were actually kidnapped by other black Africans and sold to the slave ship captains along the beaches of Africa. So doesn't Africa have a debt with slavery since they were, well, really the leaders of it in some ways? You there? Your brain stop working? Did you give up? All right, line went dead. It's kind of like Henry Fonda in Failsafe here. What's going on? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, I talked to somebody in Dubai who's Iranian. First of all, they like to be called Persians. They don't like to be called Iranians to associate with the mullah and all them. Anyway, they've been wanting for a long time, he tells me, to have a regime change, ever since the Shah's been out. So if a regime change comes, they're happy. I mean, especially, look at this. Dubai is right across the water from Iran, and they're doing fantastic over there. All the people live nice. It's a Muslim country, but they're much more relaxed on the way they treat people. So if they could have a regime change and stop being more like Dubai, that may be turn into a great country.
I know. I appreciate the call, Doug. Doug's right. I see people online that go to Dubai. Dubai looks like they found life on another planet and it's paradise. Looks very nice over there. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right.
I am James.
All right, James. Hold on a second here. I'm answering these very busy phones. All right. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to talk about just the facts, the type of slavery that happened, or colonization of natives in Africa.
Yeah, you got a bad cell phone, but you know, since you're making some strange argument about to, at least. So I'll see if your signal gets better. All right, so go ahead. You know what I think happened? I think President Trump has shut down the Obama phones, and their phones just are going dead. Call back, guy, because I want to hear what you have to say. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Farley in Florida.
Okay. What's on your mind?
You do realize there is one major nuclear facility that they haven't gotten to in Iran. Do you know where that's at?
No, where?
Okay, that's interesting. I haven't heard you mention it.
Well, tell me where.
It's in a mountain.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And?
Now, you know, that mountain, what I've heard, it takes at least 2 to 3 bombs to get into it, and one won't do it. They have to
really?
open it up.
Really?
Yes. You look into it.
So this is interesting. All right, where are you calling me from?
Florida.
Are you at Mar-a-Lago?
No, I'm in another place.
Well, you sound like you're in the Situation Room with the president, where you know all this classified intel that the public has not been made aware of.
This was all over the news.
All over the news. So this is interesting. So you mean to tell me that Iran or Israel have released classified targeting information and have released information that we don't have weapons strong enough to take out this classified location, that doesn't really make much sense to me.
How about Newsmax?
If Newsmax is reporting this, what they may have said is they're not sure if the bunker bomb. I've heard some interviews where they said, could the bunker bomb take that out? You're stating things for a fact that are not a fact. And so far as Newsmax, you just threw that out there to think you'll have credibility. The information you're giving me would be classified intel, either from Iran or from the United States and Israel. So I don't know. Are you Iranian, or are you distributing classified information from the United States? Because
what about? I thought there's a give and take. What about Fox and CNN?
What about them?
They've all reported that.
Well, if they reported that, they're filling time. They don't know what the capability, these weapons that President Trump is talking about using, okay, have never been used publicly. No one is publicly sharing what their capabilities are or are not. That is highly classified. So what you're hearing are just a bunch of blowhards trying to impress the audience with a bunch of stuff they're making up.
Okay, have a good day.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Will you? Guy sounds slightly intoxicated. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
You know, my comments about this Juneteenth are, well, first, Democrats don't have holidays. They have protest days. It's like 365 days a year. A holiday is sort of like a special day of protest. I mean, you get the one kid that called in. He's volunteering, but he's getting paid.
Yeah.
You got the party switch that they never switch. You got this guy, LBJ, is a Republican. It's like talking to the wall. Yeah, everything about them is like upside down and backwards. As far as days off go, federal employees, as far as I'm concerned, they have 2 holidays every week. It's called Saturday and Sunday.
That's true.
You don't need any more damn holidays.
That's true.
And Renee, oh my God, I was going to be a little sarcastic. I'm beginning to think Renee is a lost cause. But, for a millennia, Renee, and then some, the powerful tribes, the strong tribes, were enslaving the weak tribes in Africa. The same thing happened here in North America amongst the Indian tribes.
Yeah.
But in Africa, a couple of the tribes started getting weapons. It was a weapons race amongst the tribes, and the currency were their own people. You enslaved yourself.
This is what's going on. President Trump, what he said yesterday is there's too many federal holidays where everything is shut down. Okay. And he's not saying that Juneteenth should not be a federal holiday, but what he's saying is Juneteenth, and he didn't say Juneteenth by name, by the way, but he's saying that Juneteenth and some of the other federal holidays, it's okay to have them as a holiday, but we shouldn't be shutting everything down on these days. And my guess is, while we're on the verge of war with Iran, he needed to do something yesterday with the government that couldn't get done. Because of the Juneteenth federal holiday, the government was shut down.
Yes.
I don't know what that is, but there was something that happened. He couldn't get someone on the phone, or he wanted to do something and he couldn't. The President of the United States couldn't get it done because it was shut down.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, no, we do have. I remember thinking about the holidays. I mean, decades ago, thinking about everybody wants a freaking holiday for everything. Everybody gets their holiday. When the hell are we going to work? But I understand the philosophy of celebrate your holiday. Celebrate with it. But you can work work an 8-hour, 10-hour shift and then celebrate your holiday. But don't shut everything down. People need the infrastructure.
Yeah, and this thing about the weapons that President Trump is talking about, suggesting he's going to use, are the most highly classified weapons we have. And no one knows their capabilities. They've never been used publicly. Some of them never, so all these people on television that are telling you this and that and showing pictures of different bombs, They don't know. They're just making stuff up to try to get the hot girl to go home with them that night from the bar, right? I mean, they're just trying to sound important. You know,
there's weapons that they put on. There's weapons that they put out. What they can do, and that's basically to tell the our enemies that listen, don't mess with us. And then
I mean, why would they be saying, okay, there's this nuclear facility in a mountain, but it's so deep we don't have anything that can get to it. There's only two reasons they would share that: one, stupidity, or psych ops, so that they don't evacuate and take them all out. Either one. But there's no way that they're giving classified intel on these weapons on Fox, Newsmax, CNN, or anything. I'm sorry.
And there are weapons. Yeah, I agree with you. There are weapons that they don't put on Wikipedia, that nobody knows. There are weapons that we don't know about, guys, and that's great. And I have faith that if Donald Trump wants to do something about this mountain facility, Ford Door, whatever the heck the name of it is, that if he wants it gone, it will be gone. We have the capability. It's just a matter of, is that the best option for America?
Yeah.
Is the best option for us? And I look at also, I mean, when I think of American first, I obviously we've got the geography of America, all the.
Well, listen, I gotta run for the break, but I'll give you the last word.
Sure.
I'll give you the last word.
Well, a peaceful world is American first, and Israel is an ally. We should be.
Yes.
A peaceful world is America first.
That's right. That's right. All right. Appreciate the call. Call us on hold. Stand by. We'll be right back. Hey, Barry. Oh. So next week we'll start that new time. Okay. Yes. Okay, hold on. Less than a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Seagull from the Seagull Law Group. Attorney Barry Seagull, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good. Now, tomorrow's Saturday. Is there any space left in your Medicaid planning seminar for tomorrow?
We are. It's quite full. If somebody wanted to call and see if they could get in this morning, they call us this morning when we open at 8:30. You could call, and if we can get you in, we're happy to get you in.
Oh boy!
If not, then we'll be putting together a waiting list for the next one. We don't have it scheduled yet. But
see, guys, when we talk about these workshops and we tell you to call and reserve your spot, you got to do it, right? I mean, you can't wait. Okay, so what do you have for us today, Barry?
So we had a great Living Trust workshop yesterday where we had a great audience of people and came to learn a lot about estate planning, about living trusts, about how to protect their family, how to avoid probate and guardianship, how to protect the inheritance for their loved ones, and a host of other things that they could do to make sure that they don't run out of money before they run out of life, which
That's
is
right.
We're going to cover a lot of that during the Medicaid seminar as well. We covered all of those things. And, what we try to do, Brian, is we try to make, we understand that these topics that we're talking about, there are a lot of other things that we could be doing that might be more fun or entertaining in general than talking about end of life and disability and incapacity issues. But we try to make it as entertaining and as fun and enjoyable as possible, while at the same time giving people the opportunity to learn about things that would be important to help make the right decisions for themselves and their families.
Yeah, and this Medicaid planning is so important. And I didn't understand this until we met and you started talking about it. But what Medicaid planning does, it's like having those long-term health policies. The Medicaid planning, can you tell people what it does and what it covers, Barry?
Well, it's an alternative way to pay for long-term care.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most people either don't have long-term care insurance or don't have enough of it. So that leaves us two options: either spending down our money or qualifying for the government benefit of Medicaid, which can cover a significant amount of the cost of long-term care. The biggest problem with that is that most people automatically jump to the conclusion that this is not for them. That's not for me.
That's
I have
right.
too much income, too much assets. That won't be for me. That's for poor people. Guess what? Most of you who are listening right now, I can't guarantee all of you, but obviously if you come in, we'll review and we can see if you would be a candidate. But most of you listening actually probably would qualify.
Yeah.
Some things may need to be done to make sure that you're ready to qualify when the time comes. That's why you need to come to one of our Medicaid planning seminars or come in for a free review for long-term care and see if that's something that we could help you with in the future.
In fact, when I went to a recent Medicaid planning seminar that you put on at the Spanish River Library, I came up to you after and I said, Barry, it seems like almost everyone whose last name is not Trump qualifies for this. And the Medicaid planning, it covers the at-home care. What other kinds of care does it cover? Does it help with?
Well, it covers home care, so it can pay for up to 40 hours of care a week, and it all depends on the person's needs. It can pay for up to $1,800 a month towards assisted living care for the medical portion of that bill. And for the nursing home, it could essentially cover the whole thing.
Wow.
Minus the bulk of your income.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you have income of $3,000 a month and the nursing home's $15,000 a month, essentially you're paying just short of the $3,000 as opposed to the $15,000. Which would you rather pay?
Yeah, and how much is the average nursing home a month in the state of Florida? Do you know?
I'd say somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a month.
Wow.
Although I've seen some that are higher than that.
Really?
Too. So it's a lot of money, and it's something. It's one of those bills that we don't want to have to pay every single month when we're in our retirement years on with a nest egg and a fixed income, because we'll run out. A lot of people will run out of money very quickly under those circumstances.
And what happens that's so sad when this happens is when someone they spend all their money on that, and then when they pass, their surviving spouse is left destitute, broke, and even homeless, forced to move in with relatives. It doesn't have to be that way. Call the Seagull Law Group. Remember, it's a free in-office consultation with the Seagull Law Group. Online at SeagullLawGroup.com, or you can call toll-free 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782. And again, online, SeagullLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Seagull, we'll talk next week.
All right, nice chatting with you.
All right, take care.
Weekend.
All right, now, guys, you on hold, stand by. I will remind you that it is Open Phones, Open Mag and Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. But I do have a few things I want to bring up. Number one, there's a big fake news story that Tulsi Gabbard is on the outs with Trump. That is not true. Not only has she been in these Situation Room meetings all week long, Roger Stone, who's a personal close friend of the president, said it's all made up, all fairy tales, okay? It's about them trying to cause division inside MAGA. But CNN dropped an amazing poll yesterday. Listen to this.
This is what we should point out. This is Donald Trump's GOP, not Tucker Carlson's. Now, you mentioned what happens when you go against Donald Trump. I mean, this sort of says it all, right? We've had these fights in the past. We had it between Mike Pence and, of course, Donald Trump over the 2020 election. We had it most recently, Elon Musk against Donald Trump. GOP favorables, pre- and post-Trump fight. Look at this. Pre-fight, Mike Pence, very well beloved by Republicans, an 84% favorable rating. Look at where he is now. 36%. When you go against Donald Trump and you're Republican, you go down. How about Elon Musk? Remember, he was beloved by Republicans. He had a 78% favorable rating with Republicans. But then he fought Donald Trump, and what happened? He went down. The bottom line is this. Donald Trump's favorable rating stayed steady, or actually even went up when he won these battles against Mike Pence or Elon Musk. But if you go up against Donald Trump and you're Republican or Republican affiliated, your favorable ratings with Republicans, they go down, traditionally speaking.
Where do things stand right now for the Director of National Intelligence and Tucker
See,
Carlson?
Tulsi.
Again,
They hate
Tulsi
Tulsi.
has been very public with what he's saying. Tulsi Gabbard, we haven't heard from her in a little bit.
Yeah, this is Donald Trump's Republican Party. The favorable rating among Republicans, you could see it here. Donald Trump beloved, 88% favorable rating among Republicans, near his apex. Now, Tucker Carlson is well liked among Republicans, but not anywhere in the same universe as Donald Trump at 64%, Tulsi Gabbard, 55%. The bottom line is this. As I said at the beginning, this is Donald Trump's Republican Party, not Tucker Carlson's, not Tulsi Gabbard's. Republicans, traditionally speaking, go along with Donald Trump. And as we saw in that last slide, when you go against Donald Trump, you go down while Donald Trump stays quite high.
Yeah, and Bannon was at the White House yesterday, kissing the ring. And I know it's great, isn't it? Tucker called and apologized. Tulsi is not on the outs, according to the great Roger Stone. So things are going very, very well. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Barbara in Baltimore. How are you today? Great show.
Thank you,
I
Barbara.
just thought I'd give you a call about, I'm so glad to see that there's some pushback on Juneteenth. I think it's such a ridiculous waste of a day.
Yeah.
And one of the things that people don't know, no one talks about Galveston, the slaves who didn't know that they were free, they were told, didn't know that they were free, didn't believe it, but they believed it and finally got free. The Choctaw Indians did not release their slaves until a year later.
Yeah.
Until a year later.
Yeah.
So to all these racist idiots out there who talk about white people, white people, white people, they're such evil demons. They just can't tell the truth about Juneteenth, that it's a bunch of crap, and it was the Choctaw Indians who were the last to free the slaves
you're
in
right.
America.
You know what it is, Barbara?
And I'm so sick of it.
A lot of people like Renee and Jasmine Crockett and everything, they just like to have power over white people, and they use this white liberal guilt to try to make, to try to get their way done, but it's not going to happen. Not around here.
Well, they think they have power.
They don't.
have power.
Yeah, that's
what
exactly
they have
right.
is the ability to publicly display their stupidity.
That's right.
And Jasmine Crockett, there's a very good man that's running against her. They're a disgrace. People like Jasmine Crockett, Maxine Waters, they are an embarrassment to black people.
Yeah.
They're the reason why so many black people are leaving the Democrat Party, because it's always about being a clown show.
And she does this.
Clown show.
Jasmine Crockett does this fake ghetto act. She does not talk ghetto. She is very well spoken. She went to private school her entire life. She went to private schools, well educated. And if you go back and find interviews of her from a couple years ago, she's not all into the way she talks now. What she's doing now is an act.
Brian, what they need to do, I could care less about where she went to school. They need to do some investigation into how she suddenly become a millionaire when her little law practice didn't even make $50,000.
That's a good question. All right, Barbara, I got to run, but take care. Thanks.
Have a great.
You too, Barbara. Barbara from Baltimore, by the way, was behind the president in the bleachers that day in Butler when the Never Trumpers shot our president. She was there and has video right behind the president of the whole thing. I talked to her that night on the air. We did a special broadcast here on True Oldies. If you're on hold, stand by. 1 hour to go. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. It's open phones at 1-888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We'll be back right after this.
He said his what? If you're on hold, hang in there. The weekend is here, friends. I'm very excited. Make sure you subscribe if you are new, guys. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Mm-hmm. One minute, we'll be back.
Longest running radio show in Florida. I believe the longest running radio show in the United States. But this is the longest running radio show in Florida, without doubt. Welcome back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. The third hour has begun on this Open MAGA Open Phone Friday. If you're on hold, stand by. Before we go to the phones, I want to announce this incredible special that's going on from Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You guys know I've lost over 35 pounds. I only wanted to lose 25 pounds, and I ended up losing over 35 pounds. Now, I'm not going to tell you what my start weight was and what my end weight was, because, it's bad enough. I'm telling you, I've lost so much weight all the time. If you want to see the difference in me, go back and look at me on YouTube on Inauguration Day. I saw photographs of me at Wings Plus for our Inauguration Day event, and I got to tell you, I'm embarrassed at those pictures. I saw the way I looked. That is embarrassing. And for a lot of those people, that may be the only time they ever see me, and I got to do another appearance over there so people can see and get photographs with the new me, because, I took a lot of photographs over there, and people may show those pictures around for years. Oh, look, here's Brian Craig. That's not what I look like now, because I've lost all this weight, and I feel great. And I started Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I started the program the Monday after the inauguration. Okay, because I met with them. I went over there and met with Dr. Zuckerman right before I came to Wings Plus. And that weekend, I flew out to LA to see my daughter. And I said, Doc, I want to start when I get back. So I started the Monday after. And I've lost all this weight. But they have an incredible special going on right now. I'm all choked up thinking about all this weight I lost. Coastal Weight Loss Secret has a July 4th special. Okay, it's going on right now. 20% off. For new patients, okay? 20% off. Now, this ends July 7th, so call now. Virtual appointments are available as well. Here's the number, which means you can call them no matter where you're located and have this incredible transformation. Now, I just lost a little over 35 pounds, which was over 10 pounds over my goal. But if you want to lose less or even more, up into the hundreds of pounds, right? Give them a call. It works, okay? 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. Sorry, guys. I'm all choked up here. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning to you. Happy weekend. Hope you have a great weekend.
Oh, Richie. Hey, Richie.
Now I'm going to get into it with Renee, the half a man. He's half a man. He's not even a whole man. You know why he's half a man? Because he uses the white man as a crutch in his whole life. His whole philosophy is what the white man did to us. Let me say something to you. I'm a Vietnam veteran. We were treated like crap when we came home from the war. But you know who was treated worse than us? The Vietnamese people that came over here, the boat people.
Yeah.
They were discriminated against. They were kicked. They were spit on. It was disgraceful. And guess who makes the most money in this country today? The Vietnamese per income. So they don't use that crap as an excuse for their whole life. This June 13th crap shouldn't even be a holiday. You know what should be a holiday? The day President Trump eliminated affirmative action and woke.
Yeah.
Because that meant everybody was on the same plane.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing that you get a ride, special ride, because of your race, color, or any damn thing in the past. It's just a gross thing. It divides the country. It's a Democratic ploy. Oh, it's the racism. Renee is a sucker. He's a total sucker and a loser because he uses that. There's no reason why he couldn't, whether he makes it or not. You can't keep on throwing that up in the face of everybody.
Yeah.
Half of this country, by the way, half of the white people in this country were in Europe when the Civil War was
It's
going on.
80% of Americans are descendants of immigrants that came to the country after the Civil War. 80%.
Yeah,
So we've got no role in any of it. All right, Richie, appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brother Brian.
Yes,
IB.
I knew it was you, IB, because when I go to you, you always go and pick up the phone that you have on a speaker, and I can hear the noise of the receiver being picked up off the phone. So I know it's you before you even say it.
It's the Bluetooth. It's the Bluetooth because you get on me about it sometimes. So sometimes because when you're on hold, you don't know when you're coming on because I'm not on the radio.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
okay.
listening in the
That's okay.
Yeah, anyway. Here's my theory. I got two things. Here's my theory. Trump telling everyone to get out of Tehran. I don't know if what we want to hit and blow up is the only power source that they would have to keep electricity on and to keep pumps flowing, to keep water going, or is it all in one unit? Now, we already took out the pipes, the smoke pipes, so, okay, they can't do any enrichment, but do they still need that same facility to keep the electricity going? So the 2 weeks any minute within the 2 weeks, it could be happening as I speak. He gave up to 2 weeks, not 2 weeks. So get the difference straight, you Democrats, okay? Now, was that necessary? Not just because of radiation fallout, or he didn't want the people, the regular people, to be hurt by not having water and electricity, and that's why he said to get out. We don't know that yet, but all we need is 4 mobs, MOBs, Mothers of All Bomb. We already know how it worked in when we was looking for Bin Laden, so we already know how deep he can go and what kind of. So they're going to send 2 cells that's 4 bombs, and everything goes.
This is amazing. I tell you, when you do a show like this, you never know who's listening. I got another guy here on the line, IB, who's in the Situation Room, and now you're releasing all the classified plans that Trump approved the other day on Iran. That's amazing. It's amazing how all these people from the Situation Room with the President of the United States, the War Room, not only listen and call me, but they're kind enough to share all the secret plans Trump approved in the war. That's great.
Brian, we already know.
You don't know. What's happening is
it's been used before.
The news
You're
is
talking about something. Go ahead.
You're talking about a war that was over 20 years ago. The weapons have advanced since then. Hey, I appreciate the call, though. I mean, give me a break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay, hold on. Let me turn you off.
Yes.
Which is a first love to do. Jay from Jersey. Okay, today is Friday. I guess I get to bring up what I want to talk about right before you hang up on me. Is that what we're going to do?
Well, there are limitations, but let's see.
Okay, well.
Always trying to make yourself into being a victim. I get it.
Well, it's not a victim. It's like whenever I'm right about something, you hang up on me.
You're wasting time.
Watch me prove myself right.
Oh.
Okay.
I can't wait.
I'm just going to start off. With Barbara. Barbara, you're an Oreo cookie, and we could care less about you being in the black race.
What does that mean? What does that
mean?
mean? I don't know. What does that mean?
You know exactly what that means.
No, well, maybe not everybody does. No, I don't know what you mean by that.
Oh, I'm calling Barbara an Oreo cookie. That means she's black on the outside, but she's white on the end.
What does that mean? She's white?
She's a traitor to her race.
She's biracial?
She's a traitor to her race.
There's only one race. It's the human race. She's betrayed humanity?
Guess what?
I don't understand.
You've divided the races when you started off with Juneteenth today. But that's not what I called to talk about. What I called to talk about is I worked the election last Tuesday. And you know what kept happening? I start noticing.
No, I don't know. No, I don't care. I don't care. The reason I discontinued that call is I am just so tired of the same thing with Jay from Jersey and Renee from Harlem. They need to update their DNC scripts, don't you think? It's just the same thing. And if I'm getting bored listening to them, you guys got to be, Just not liking it at all. I wanted to play this clip, though, of Jasmine Crockett. I was going to play it right before the top, but the clock ran out. This is her Katie Couric interview, Jasmine Crockett.
I want to talk to you about some of the things that are going on in this country, Jasmine, before you go. What do you think about what has happened in L.A. and calling up the National Guard, the Marines, and basically saying this could happen in every state in our country?
What, Mexicans rise up and attack federal agents and government buildings? What does Katie Couric mean by that?
I truly have no words. You know, you grow up as a little girl, and you grow up as a little girl in this country. Let me clarify that. And you think,
whatever that means,
this is a great place to live, and it's only going to get better. And then you become the adult version of me, and you have a president that is openly just a criminal, like not just the convictions he's got, consistently breaking laws, ignoring court orders, violating the Constitution, and doing it all because he really is seeking this retribution that he campaigned on. He said, I will be your retribution. And so this idea that we don't care how many people get hurt, we don't care how we prostitute our service members, you know, thinking that you have your own special little army that's for you. I mean, it is sick. It is really sick. And anybody that supports it is also sick. And so, you know, we've got a mental health crisis in this country because everyone, no matter how you affiliate yourself, should be against Trump, period. This is not partisan for me. Like, I would give anything to have, sad to say,
typical liberal who they don't have partisan opinions. They just see reality, right?
George Bush. Give me any regular Republican nowadays.
Oh, Bush.
And I would be happy, but
see, when you know Bush is a bad dude, when you've got radical Democrats, oh, give me Bush back.
Right now, we have someone who does not care, and he is being enabled by the fact that there are, you know, people that follow him and they pump him up, as well as the people that are surrounding him. And so, you know, my heart breaks for service members, people that signed up to protect democracy and freedom, not only here, but abroad, and were willing to risk their lives. And now literally the very thing that they signed up to fight against is now their commander-in-chief. It really breaks my heart, and I don't know how far he has to go before we can come together and just say enough is enough. Like, this should not be partisanship.
Okay, so is she talking like Candace Owens? Is she talking about a coup? What is Jasmine Crockett suggesting there? And by the way, the military that was called up in L.A. was to protect the government buildings and the federal agents. They didn't unleash them on the public. And they also were there to repel foreign invaders with their Mexican flags. But what is she calling for there at the end? To stand up against the president? Is she calling for an insurrection against the federal government, Jasmine Crockett? By the way, she's gained quite a bit of weight, too. Have you noticed that? I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Slowman's. You can get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Slowman Shield. But that's not all. Slowman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slowman Shield. Here's the number, 1-833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. Give them a call. Get that free doorbell camera. All right, we'll be right back. We'll be back shortly. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, man. Jasmine Crockett, she's out of her mind. She was talking normally there, if you noticed. I guess she forgot the fake accent that she uses. If you're new to the program, make sure that you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I take calls live like this Monday through Friday, but I'm here on YouTube all the time. I upload my podcast here. I live stream all the time, 7 days a week. We'll be back in just over a minute. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. And if you're on hold, hang in there. Not only do we save money on every deportation, you create a job. Mm-hmm. Less than a minute. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, we were talking during the break here in our chat room, and someone had said, every time Trump deports someone, we save money. And I said, yeah. And every time Trump deports someone, that's a job created, too. Have you thought about it that way? Look at all this job creation Trump's doing with these deportations. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Troy from West Palm. How you doing, Brian?
All right, Troy. What's up?
Hey, I just wanted to say, looking sharp there on the Wendy Bell show. Good job, buddy.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was on Newsmax. Did you notice?
Hey, one other thing.
I was on. Let me finish my self promotion since you mentioned. If you caught me on Newsmax last weekend, I was wearing a shirt and tie. I got out my.
That was a sharp purple tie there.
I got out my cruise clothes. Is what I did.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Go. I appreciate that.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Well, I can hear you, so go ahead.
Hey, I listened to you on YouTube, and when you play like the clips and stuff, like you just did the CNN, I can't hear those.
It depends on what if you watch on the stream where you get to see all the cool stuff behind me. You hear all of that. I have 2 live streams going online. You got to watch the other one, and you get the benefits of all that stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
All right, Troy. Appreciate the call.
All right, good job, buddy.
All right, appreciate the call. Yes, I was wearing a purple shirt and tie. That's correct. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, how are you today? I just want to kind of follow up on Richie's call, which I couldn't agree more from. And I mentioned this before, the damage that this affirmative action and quotas has done into our economy, and we can go back like 4 decades with that, has been devastating. And I think one of the biggest triumphs of the Trump administration, and it's taken 2 administrations to do it, is to get off of this crap, this affirmative action and quotas, and go to a meritocracy-based economy where the best people are the ones that are promoted and get the biggest chance. This whole race-baiting stuff has really been an undercurrent that has devastated our country.
And if
you still see,
go ahead. It is open phones.
Wherever you go now, you see incompetence in every field. It can be from medical treatment, even getting a cup of coffee somewhere. Total incompetence that you constantly have to deal with, and it has a pull down effect on our economy and people.
You want to see
But
incompetence? Go to a Chipotle and pay in cash.
Oh,
I'm serious. They might have to call a manager.
If the manager can help out,
Do you know?
He probably has to call his district manager.
You know, I went car shopping, and I was looking at a car that was a stick shift. The salesman couldn't drive a stick, and
isn't that something?
But you know what? You know what got worse? The sales manager couldn't drive a stick either. And so I said, "Well, I'll drive it," and they said, "No, customers can't drive the cars off the lot." Can you? I'm thinking, how can you be a car salesman or sales manager and not know how to drive a stick? But this is what's happened to our society.
Well, this anecdotal evidence, though, it permeates our society at every level, every job, every interaction you do, and it just had a devastating effect. And plus alienation of the different ethnic groups and stuff like that. And it's really a shame because when we're united, we are unbeatable. But this crap that was shoved down our throat, and especially by the legacy media, covering up for all this stuff and supporting these policies and that. And thank God we finally got a guy like Trump in there who's pulled us back from that.
Let me tell you, there's one thing that the Democrats don't get, and I probably shouldn't share this, but I'm going to. They're not going to listen to my advice. Mm-hmm. Juneteenth and these things, the Democrat, Rush always talked about, the great Rush Limbaugh. The Democrats have that old, same, tired, worn out playbook, and it's, race card. One of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons why the Democrats are losing people, but here's a big one. Okay, if so many people are Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, DoorDash. Okay, all these this new, they call it the gig economy, and millions of people have those jobs, either full or part time. And one thing about those workers that people don't realize on the left, and these are working class people. They work very hard, and they're of all different ethnicities and everything. They're voting Republican. And so the Democrats go back to this racial division and all this stuff. When you drive for Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, or any of these new things that are going on, you don't work for them. You're an independent contractor, meaning you get a 1099 every year. And when you get a 1099, you don't have employee tax deductions. You've got to pay all the taxes yourself. You're responsible for all the taxes, not just income taxes, but payroll taxes. And when you work for someone, you pay your payroll, part of your payroll taxes, your employer pays. But if you're a 1099 independent contractor driving for Uber or DoorDash, you've got to pay all that. So the point being is there are millions of people who have these jobs, right? Millions. And they all have to pay all of their taxes, including payroll taxes every year, out of their own pocket. And that is red-pilling a lot of these working class people that are lifelong Democrats from Democrat families. And the Democrats are so out of touch with the people in this country, they don't even understand this. It's a big thing that's going on. And Trump won for a lot of reasons, but that's one of the reasons.
Well, you just had a film clip of Jasmine Crockett on the news, and she's one of the leading candidates probably for in 08 or 28. Can we really believe this?
Yeah.
Is this where we are as far as presidential candidates?
Well, yeah, that's
really,
true. That's true. And I just want to finish my point on the taxes. I agree with everything you're saying. When people, you see, what happened is working class people are paying taxes out of their pocket for the first time. That are these Uber drivers and Lyft drivers and DoorDashers, and there's a whole bunch of other things, that are these jobs. And when people start paying taxes, they become Republicans real quick. They get tired of a bunch of freehow living off the taxes.
And it's a wake-up call for them too. And if it wakes them up and gets people to understand how devastating this has all been. I know it has a bad effect on them, but it's important to factor that in with everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just and the Democratic Party. I think we're looking at a party that's just
They're done. They're done. Hey, I got to run for the break, but I appreciate the call. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about My Pillow. Huge sale going on right now. A perfect night's sleep. I was searching for years for a perfect night's sleep. until I got that first MyPillow. And that first night, I slept like a baby. And I have the whole MyPillow sleep system right now. And in these hot summer months, I want to talk about the MyPillow bed sheets. You know, the MyPillow sheets you can get for as low as $24.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at mypillow.com. You know, the MyPillow sheets keep you cool all night long. It's like having an air conditioner under your sheets. You will be the perfect temperature, so cool and comfortable all night long through the hottest of these summer months. And again, just $24.98 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, toll free, 1-800-716-4879. Remember, great sleep starts with great sheets. You guys heard the H there, right? Again, you can order by phone as well, 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back. Oh, boy. Yeah, Mike Lindell, he won that case. He was being sued. I was talking about this earlier. Mike Lindell was being sued for over $60 million. He was being personally sued and MyPillow. And MyPillow didn't have any judgment against it. And that 60-plus million went down to just over $2 million. So Mike Lindell had a major victory in court this week in that trial. That's awesome. It sure is. Biden made Juneteenth a national federal holiday. Yeah. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones after the break. We'll be back in about a minute. So if you're on hold, stand by. We have 2 openings on the board. Make sure you subscribe. Click that notification bell. You'll get notified every time I go live. Less than a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. Open phones on Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. The show prep is up to you and the listening audience on Friday. The other days, you got to call and talk about what we bring up. All right, back to our phones. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen.
Hi there. I just want to tell you, I was bringing up Tucker the last couple calls I've made to you, but I stand with Trump now.
Yes.
Listening to him, and so anyways, I'm just saying that I am MAGA, and I'm not sure that why you.
I know you're MAGA.
I can't speak for.
I know you were MAGA. I know you're MAGA. I didn't say you weren't MAGA.
You said anybody that doesn't stand with Trump.
But I knew you would. I know.
MAGA.
I know you do and would. You just got let us. Okay. It wasn't easy to. It wasn't hard to fall into that Tucker. Bannon went to the White House yesterday to kiss the ring, and Tucker called the president the other day and apologized.
Okay, I haven't heard that. I've been busy, but the other thing is I hear you talking about egg prices. Egg prices definitely have come down, but grocery prices are not going to be coming down. It started probably years before COVID. I forget the situation, but that's when it started, where prices went up and they reduced the size of the packaging. Then COVID made it all the more worse.
Yeah.
So I go to the store. I go to the store every day at least once, the Publix, Aldi, and so I see prices. So as a matter of fact, I would say they've rose, except for sales or anything like that. But I didn't vote for Trump for grocery prices. And,
prices don't come down so much. What you try to do is try to stop them from you try to slow inflation. Is what you try to do.
Right.
Once prices are up, they're up. I mean, when do they go back down? Not very often.
Yeah. I think a lot of people thought that was going to happen, but,
Well, some things are going down, like the eggs.
The eggs, that was because Biden, that administration, they killed all those chickens. That is a separate situation, and the eggs are...
But it still was a big... The reason I bring up eggs is because liberals were obsessing over it. Now that they've gone down, you don't hear them talk about it. All right, Joe Ellen, you're in the club. Take care.
Okay.
Appreciate the call.
All
right. See, that bothered her. I could tell. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Milo, Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio.
All right, Milo, what's up?
Okay, so all right, real quick, the Israelis' last major thing they hit was a water cooling tower. It wasn't had nothing to do with the centrifuge.
Yeah. How do you run that reactor without the water tower and all that?
Well, it's just for power. It has nothing.
Well,
to do with
how do you do all of that when there's been bombs dropped all over the facility? It sounds like you're rooting for the Iranians to have their nuke reactor still going.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that what they're trying to do now is take out power in there, because as soon as all the bombs dropped in the center, all the Fordo and all those sites have been hit, they're going to have to bring Marines in to look for all of their enriched uranium that's already there. They don't know for sure where that's at. So they've moved two. My guess. Listen, my guess is none of us know. Okay, we have some. No. We definitely don't know for sure.
But my guess is the damage that we've seen has the damage could be more devastating. Okay, they got the weapons to. They're a nuclear power, Israel. They could wipe out everything. They don't want to totally destroy it because they want to do what you said. They want to be able to send soldiers in to see if the uranium's there, right? And things like that. And if they obliterate everything, they can't send those inspection teams in. So that's why you have the damage. The damage is only what it is, so they can go in there and examine it. Then they'll blow it up. They'll blow it up. They'll blow it up after.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think the Israelis are trying to take out the Ayatollah. I mean, it's
no doubt.
It's pretty much guaranteed.
No doubt.
I mean, it's just, I mean, and I know people hate this. They don't want, America's involved with, the politics of other countries. But at the same time, we have to make sure that we don't get another crazy person, in that area that's already set up for, being
and I got to tell you, everybody is pushing the Shaw. The Shaw that we're seeing now is the son of the last reigning Shaw, and he's making this move to take over Iran. Last week, his daughter got married to a Jewish guy in Europe. I don't know how accepting the Iranian people. Yeah,
I learned that from you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how accepting the Iranian people are going to be to a Shaw that has Jews in the family. I just have an idea that they wouldn't be too accepting of that.
I agree with you, but also the Iranian people. I mean, they've been controlled by a Shia, whatever you call it, Shia.
It's
sect
one of Islam.
Islam. So I would say, like, if you look back at the 70s, the Iranian people during the 70s, they were very democratic. They were more liberal. I know we hate that word, but
but those people are gone. Those people are gone, and the population.
They'll go right back. They will come right back.
Maybe
and build that country.
Maybe
there's plenty of money for them.
I saw these three idiot American white guys on YouTube yesterday who just visited Iran during all this crap. Somehow they got a pass to go there, and they're showing how beautiful and everything that it is, because they're going around where the elite are.
And if they get captured, they're going to want Trump to do something to free them up.
I know, right? Yeah, but this is the deal. All Muslims hate Jews pretty much in these countries like Iran. Just some don't hate them as much. So I agree with you that if it was liberated, there's a good chance it would go back to the, something like the old days. I just don't see, though, them accepting a Shaw royal family that has Jews in the family. I just don't see that being a long-term thing. It may happen in the beginning, but there's no way they'll be accepting of that.
Extremists, though, right? I mean, I'm not a fan of Islam whatsoever.
I don't know what that means. I mean, when you say extremists, no.
Well, I don't.
If they all were extremists, we'd be dead.
I mean, I know plenty of Muslims that they don't really know anything about the Quran or even about the religion. They were just raised, as Muslims, and
most Christians don't know anything about Christianity. Most Americans,
exactly.
How many Americans don't know American history? Look at these idiots I was talking to today. The guy that thought Johnson was a Republican and all this stuff. So yeah, I agree.
I didn't say that I learned a lot from you.
I appreciate it. Well, you make some good sense there. I appreciate the call. Yep. All right. Take care. There's an incredible special going on right now with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and you really want to take advantage of this. Give them a call. It's a July 4th special, 20% off for new patients. And the July 4th of July special is going on right now, 20% off for new patients. It expires July 7th, guys. So call and take advantage of this. You can take advantage of Coastal Weight Loss Secret no matter where you are. Virtual appointments are available, and you've seen the transformation in me. I was nervous about this for a number of reasons. At first, I thought I was going to be starving all the time. Never been hungry. I thought I was going to have to exercise all the time. Haven't exercised once. Okay, and I thought I was going to have to eat terrible food or not have much food at all and be hungry all the time because of that. I eat foods I normally eat. So it's great. And by the way, no prescription medications, and it works. It's really changed my life. I feel so much better. I have so much energy. I've cut my caffeine content back by over 50%. Right away, I was at 50%. Now I've cut it down by about 65 to 75% less coffee because I've got more energy with all this weight I've lost. I don't need the pick-me-up that I needed before. And of course, I look great. I've got the body I had when I got married 29 years ago. So again, this July 4th special, 20% off for new clients only, and this expires July 7th. Call now. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Hey there, it's Brian. Hold on. Got about 30 seconds. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. And it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with our final gold and precious metals report of the week. William Youngerman, how are the metals ending the week?
Metals are ending somewhat on the weaker side, but not too bad. The market yesterday traded in a range on gold from $33.46 to $33.84 and closed out the day up $1.85 at $3,369.40 the ounce. Silver was down 27 cents, closing out the day at $36.38, while platinum was down $41 at $12.81, and palladium was down $11 at $1,038. Overnight, we saw gold trading in a range of $3,339 to $3,373, and right now we're at $3,346 the ounce. That's down about $21. Silver down 66 cents at 38 cents at $36. Platinum down $12 at $12.67, and palladium up $7 at $1,045. So the market's pretty stable going into the end of the week here.
Yeah, and you know, William, one thing I talk to you about sometimes with these great prices on some of the other metals like silver, a lot of times people take these opportunities to take their silver and transfer it into gold. How does that work?
Yeah, they simply bring in their silver, and we calculate a very fair exchange price, and they can walk out with the gold, or if they're doing it vice versa, selling their trading in their gold and taking silver, or any commodity. We can trade even any way you want. Platinum, palladium, silver, gold. It's all available to make exchanges, and we see that happening a lot more lately with the certain metals outpacing others.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a very common thing, and it's very easy to do. Listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, or stop in. He's located on the first floor of the Bank of America building in Boca, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca. And you can find both his phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk on Monday.
Okay, have a great weekend.
All right, take care. All right, call is on hold, stand by. This is the final stretch of the Open MAGA Mike Friday edition of the program. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Missy Stevenson, and I'm calling from San Marcos, Texas.
All right, go ahead, Missy in Texas.
I just wanted to, there's a couple things. that I wanted to tell you that I'm sorry that I missed so much of the content of the show while I was on hold for 34 minutes because I couldn't hear what was
it's
going
okay.
on.
What's on your mind?
Well, I just wanted to know if you had read the text message from Mike Huckabee to President Trump.
You know, I saw a story about that, and then I didn't get a chance to read it. Do you know what it said? You could tell me.
Yeah, I can actually read it to you. I have it up here. You want me to?
Yeah. Now Huckabee is the United States ambassador to the Vatican, right?
Israel.
Israel. Yeah, Israel.
Yeah,
I mean to say Israel.
Yes. Yes.
I misspoke.
So it says, Mr. President, God spared you in Butler, Pennsylvania to be the most consequential president in our century, maybe ever. The decisions on your shoulders I would not want to be made by anyone else. You have many voices speaking to you, sir, but there is only one voice that matters, his voice. I am your appointed servant in this land, and I am available for you, but I do not try to get in your presence often because I trust your instincts. No president in my lifetime has been in a position like yours, not since Truman in 1945. I don't reach out to persuade you, only to encourage you. I believe you will hear from heaven, and that voice is far more important than mine or anyone else's. You sent me to Israel to be your eyes and ears and voice and to make sure our flag flies above our embassy. My job is to be the last one to leave. I will not abandon this post.
How much longer? How much longer is this text? How much longer is
It's
this?
almost over, right?
All right.
It's like 2 more sentences.
Okay.
You did not seek this moment. This moment sought you. It is my honor to serve you, Mike Huckabee.
Yeah, Mike Huckabee.
Isn't that beautiful?
It's very nice. My texts are just usually 1 or 2 words, you know. But Mike Huckabee is.
I know.
You know.
It was a very long text, and it was really a private message from him
he's
to
a
President
Mike
Trump,
Huckabee. He's a man of a few thousand words, but we love him.
And he's a wonderful man of God, and he loves our president, and so do I.
All right, I
And
appreciate.
just one more thing,
yes.
I love your hat with 2028, and I believe he deserves another term for the 2020 election that was stolen from him.
Okay, I appreciate
So
it. Okay, there's a big problem. You can't let people read on the air. It's one of the big rules, and I broke it. I didn't know. If I'd have known it was that long, I wouldn't have let it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Matt. I'm in Lake Worth. And I just wanted to give us a couple of comments. We've been in the Bahamas for 6 months, traveling around all the islands. And I just wanted to put a little plug in for Elon. Without Starlink, I mean, we could be in the middle of nowhere, and we still are in communication. I was listening to your show, and it's just amazing. And also, our Comcast at the house went out for about 5 weeks, and we got a Starlink, and in the afternoon, we have internet without that, so that's a good thing.
You know that when
The
we
other
do
thing
our
is,
MAGA cruises, we have Elon's Starlink internet. It is amazing. I couldn't believe. You know, I've been on the cruise ships before they had it, and the internet was useless. It was worse than dial-up, and now it's like almost as fast as my house on the cruise ships. It's amazing.
It's amazing. So anyhow, there's an alternate. But also in our trip to the Bahamas, you know, those people, the Bahamians, most of them are descendants of slavery.
Mm-hmm, sure.
And they are the most wonderful, warm, helpful people. And then a lot of them are very, very poor. And if the guy had one shirt and you needed it, he'd give it to you. And time again, all the islands, we went all the way down to Long Island, which is way down south in the Exumas, and it's just a different mindset. This Juneteenth thing.
Do you know why it is? Slow down on that. You know, what you said is true. Why do you think it's better in the Bahamas? On our MAGA cruise, one of our stops, we're going to Antigua, but we're also going to Nassau. But and I forgot where else. But Nassau is one of our stops. Why do you think that? What you're saying is the Bahamians don't have that anger towards Whitey. Why do you think that is, as opposed to people like Renee and Jay? Why? I know why, but let me see if you know why.
I'm kind of guessing that the Democrats have brainwashed these people, and that the government owes them
exactly.
something.
They have been brainwashed, and the Bahamians have not gone to school in America, and they haven't been brainwashed to hate white people in the American school system.
Right.
And that's what's happened in this country,
Right.
and the media too, but mainly the education system.
It's a sad thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do believe that, you know, like the Holocaust. We can't forget. If we forget these things in history, they'll be repeated. So, okay, I think that there's some recognition. I don't think it should be a holiday, the Juneteenth, where all the banks close and all of that. But yeah, it's good to remember. But then also, I think it reignites racism to some degree.
Well, that's what the Democrats do. Everything the Democrats do is about division. White against black, gay against Christian. Everything they do is to cause dissent among people. They try to make everybody hate each other. That's what the Democrats do. Hey, listen, we're short on time, but I appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right, take care.
One last thing is I love your show, and it keeps me up to date on what's happening.
That's great. Well, I appreciate it. Good to hear that. Thank you. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. I've been buying my tires at Friendly Tire in Margate for about 20 years. You know, they have, at Friendly Tire, you can get new tires out the door and on the road as low as $70 a tire. That's right. And what I mean by out the door and on the road, Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire, when he quotes you a price over the phone, I'm going to give you the number in a minute. That's out the door and on the road, meaning he doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tire. And he has all the name brands you know and love, Michelin, Good. I'm a Firestone guy. One of my cars has run flats, great deal on run flats. If you have a Tesla, he's got the special equipment for those and great deals on those. But whatever type of vehicle you have, he can get you the tires for it at prices lower than you'll get anywhere else. He also does tire repairs, which other tire shops don't, and they're very inexpensive. And he has thousands of used tires that are very good tires in stock as well. Give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone, all right? 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Louise from Boca Raton, the mask lady.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, you know how I hate injustice, and I have to call in the defense of poor Mike from Louisiana and Renee. And Renee, who happens to be a very colorful caller. They're avid listeners. I don't feel they should be treated that way.
Well, with Renee, so Renee calls in, is as nasty as can be, just saying god-awful stuff. I let him on pretty much any day he calls. I think I treat him well, considering what he says and does. And so far as, who was the other one? Mike from Louisiana. Okay, Mike from Louisiana is a very nice guy, and I like him. But when he calls in, his calls go, Brian, you're right. And then he repeats what I just said, word for word.
But Brian,
so what's the point of that call? Why should I? And I've told him about this.
But not everybody has pearls of wisdom.
Well, then don't call. You know, you don't call. He calls in and repeats word for. He's a nice guy, and I like him. Don't misunderstand me. But he'll call in and say exactly what I say, word for word, a minute after I said it. So I mean he's useless as a caller.
But you hurt his feelings.
I'm not his dad or therapist.
No, it's just that why everybody has all these wonderful things to say.
I have an obligation to the audience. Just because some guy is a nice guy doesn't mean I can hand over this widely listened to program to them. That's crazy.
I don't see that others are coming out with pearls of wisdom, including
You don't have to have pearls of wisdom. No, this call you're making is very interesting. You know, you're interesting most of the time.
Well, you know how I hate the underdog. I really do.
Well, or people that I don't like. All right, appreciate the call. All right. Let's see. I'll try to squeeze in another call or two. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Florida. Yeah, the mask lady again has too much. She's still masking up.
Yeah.
Renee, Mike is a nice guy. I understand what you're saying, but that Renee, you got to get rid of him. How long has it been? 2 years? We're tired of Renee and Jay. And what's that other jerk? Tom that calls once in a while.
Tom.
They have them.
Who's Tom?
Yeah, I think it's Tom. He's calling, Fudge. That guy that calls once in a while.
No, I don't know.
Buddy. Yeah, he's from Pompano, I think. But anyway, they're losers. Nobody wants to hear from them.
You don't like
Why do you want
hearing from liberals.
Yeah, but they're
No, Renee and Jay are
They're
not. I'm not limiting Renee and Jay. Most of the time, they're okay. Today, I just got a little bored, but
They call you stupid all the time.
people call me much worse.
Somebody calls me stupid.
That's nothing.
Hey, somebody calls me stupid, and it's live on air. I tell them go to hell. That's bullshit.
Okay, all right. But the last call, first dump of the day. We had to end the show on a dump. Oh my goodness! But she thinks she should be on the air. Oh my goodness! First dump of this day. I can't believe it. All right. Well, hey, listen. It's been a great show today. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back Monday morning at 6 a.m. And if you're on hold, you'll be first in line on Monday's show. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. That last call is always a mistake, isn't it? Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll see you Monday morning at 6 a.m. God bless America. It's hilarious. Hey, listen, guys. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe, okay? And click that notification bell. And if you're already subbed, do me the favor of liking the video and even sharing on your socials if you don't mind. Now, those of you that watch on the live stream with the green behind me, the green screen, because sometimes people are a little confused by that. I have 2 live streams going. The one where you see the green is kind of a behind-the-scenes look. If you go and watch my other stream on YouTube, you get all the benefits of the green screen. You get to see all the graphics, the videos, hear all the sound bites. Here, with the green in the background, you hear me and the callers fine, but the sound bites and the videos and the images I show, you got to be on the other stream for that, guys, okay? All right, listen, I'll be back all weekend long. You know me. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time, which will be later today.